Well, a little bit tiring. Wow. What was that? 160 miles each way. Stop and pick up the hawk, turn around. So all the way up to Liverpool, or near Liverpool, to Richie Latham's place. Strangely, someone wanted to buy one of my, well, actually I gifted them, a false water cobra baby. And I said, where are you? And he said, actually, I'm up near Liverpool way. I said, might be able to help you out, meet you somewhere. Give us your postcode. Literally, exactly half a mile from Richie's place. So I gifted a guy I've never met a false water cobra baby, and I delivered it for him just down the road. Richie's birds are absolutely gorgeous. The parents of this Albidus goshawk, I've actually had to detour back to the Falconry centre, although this bird's coming home with me tonight, because I had 3 different size hoods. One looked pretty good fit, and it got it off pretty much as soon as it was packed in its travel box. A bit annoying for me. Didn't want to unpack it all again, so left it. Now it's travelled unhooded in a dark cardboard box with a thick astroturf base, soaked down the wingtips and the tail, and also, quite ridiculously, haven't got any hawk food at home, so I've had to pick some up. So we're heading home now. We're going to get home just after 7 o'clock tonight. It's been a long old afternoon. We'll have a look at this bird and we'll go from there. Wow, there's some potentially future quarry for her. Look at these little guys, just learning about life at the moment and growing up. Wee, like little road runners. Okay, hit the road home. Let's see what state this bird's in after it's travelled unhooded with no tail guard. Let's see. So day one, we just pulled her out of her overnight box. She's been hooded overnight and in a large travel box as a night box. That way I can pick her up calmly in the morning without baiting away in fear. Getting used to the dog, so she had a little bit hour at twilight last night, meeting the dogs, getting used to things. So plunging in at the deep end. We'll offer her food today, lots of hooding on and off. Probably won't leave her tethered unhooded. Don't want her baiting unnecessarily. And we will offer food. Sadly, a couple of little things. We'll see how they go. She's got a scab on each foot. It's just how it goes sometimes. Probably just put a talon through her own toe at some point, catching food or, you know, getting food in the aviary, chasing her brother around. They're not infected, so I'm going to leave them and scrub up the feet and treat with F10 and see how it goes. More annoyingly, her right hand Alula is slightly dropped on her right wing. I've keep pushing it back into place, possibly from just catching up. That means, I guess, it could be permanent or it could not be, so we'll see. I've pushed it back into place now and it looks great, but as soon as she flaps her wings, right one will drop again. My pointer's in season, so the 15-year-old Bedlingtons are doing my head in right now. That's the soundtrack. We'll see how she goes. So she came home totally empty, and she was 3 pounds 4 ounces empty. So good starting weight, I'm sure. Pure Albidus. What do you get? They always look longer to me, longer than goshawks. Their tail's obscenely long. Sort of a longer in the body bird. Oh yeah, and 1/2-inch tail tip broken in transit as well. What else you get? Smaller feet compared to a Finnish. Smaller, thinner toes compared to 3 pound Finnish goshawk's feet are absolutely enormous on the females. Not so with the Albidus. Different lifestyle up in the northern areas where they come from. I think they're very, very long-range, capable bird chasers. And capable of all sorts of things. The ones I've seen fly have been really long-range animals. They've chased hares over silly distances, as well as pheasants. So just something different and something interesting. It's been Zeus is 11. It's been about 9 years since I flew a goshawk. So looking forward to it for sure. Look at that. Very Marmite, very Marmite. My wife can't stand the colour. The tail looks shabby because it's soaking wet to keep it supple. My friend Mike, he can't stand them. Colour-wise, just something different. And obviously it's going to go much, much whiter when it molts next year. Yeah, my wife said, why did you spend that money when you could have got a Finnish goshawk? Stunning looking. She said, much nicer. Because it's just something different. I've flown Finnish. Best goshawk ever flown was a Finnish. If someone said, what sort of goshawk should I get, Dave? I'd get a pure Finnish at 100%. But something different. But already doing really well. Anyway, I'm going to drink some tea, pop that hood on and off a few more times. But you can see she's not just staring at me, wings out, open-eyed. Immersing them quite a bit actually really helps. Well, and as you can see, she's already regaining a fist as she did last night. Having the dogs running around, lots more for her to worry about or look at, rather than just stare at you. So at the moment, pop down, hooded. There's no point putting this bird down on its perch and then just watching it bait, damage its tail, stress itself out, get itself hot, and then literally hunt it down and catch it as it baits away from you as you pick it up. How is that psychologically moving forward? It isn't, is it? It's scared of you again and you're having to catch it as it's baiting on the ground. At this early stage, I'd rather hood the bird when I'm not manning it and avoid just going backwards every time I have to pick the bird back up again. Okay, it's time for a critical eye. So, looking on the tail, a couple of slight fret marks, hunger traces, whatever you want to decide they are. Nothing at all. They're really fine. We're looking really close up. Most people wouldn't notice these. Most birds, or many birds I've had, if you look at their tails, you'll see hunger traces. Some of them so clear and wide you can see through them. I'm being picky here. Of course, that is going to be the slightest, weakest point on the feather shaft, but that really is absolutely nothing, and it isn't anything untoward at all. Here's the problem. I look back on photos of this bird growing up that Richie kindly sent me. Unfortunately, this isn't just a slightly dropped alula from catching up or travelling or any such thing. More about that in a minute. A couple of little scabs. These are just talon wounds where this bird's crabbed with its brother or sister with its brother, or even stuck its own talons in its feet while it's feeding. Again, totally uninfected. Almost, well, I could pick those off, but I'm going to leave them on and put some F10 on and soften them. Birds' feet heal slowly. They don't have a lot of a vascular system, a lot of blood flow in their feet. Certainly nothing to worry about there, nothing untoward. We're being very, very picky, just like you would with a brand new vehicle. So here we are. Look on the left side of the screen now, the bird's right alula or thumb, and you can see it slots back underneath the wing and not on top of the wing as it should do. These are old pictures of the bird growing up, so we can see this won't get better. I've shown these to Richie, told Richie, he's as gutted as I am. It's like, this is the best analogy. If it doesn't affect the bird flying, which I don't think it will, it'll be like you having a brand new Lamborghini and it having a key scratch all the way down the side. Make no difference to that vehicle whatsoever. But if it was a door side, as it is the wing side that I'm going to look at, gosh, how sickened would you be? Richie's a top bloke. He's a no-quibble bloke. He said, Dave, you decide what you'd like to do. You can fly that bird, have it as a gift, and then next year we'll swap it round and have the first female next year. Bring it back. It doesn't matter. He'll sort it any way I like. To be honest, As long as she flies all right, I'm already in love with this bird, so we shall just carry on. And more than likely, unless it affects her flying, we'll say no more about it. I just wish it was a side I didn't look at all the time when she's on the glove. Okay, so good progress. Spent the morning just in the garden. She's been hooded on her perch when I've done something without her for 20 minutes at a time. And then she's been unhooded on the glove, either while I've mooched about the garden or just done stuff on my phone, worked on my phone. All around the dogs. In front of me is a washing line full of flapping, windy washing. You can hear the wind. I haven't got the mic on as usual. Offered her food a couple of times early on, but I'm much more interested and worried about the dogs. It's just after midday, about 1 o'clock, and just offered her the front half of a quail, and she's devoured the lot within about 2 minutes of seeing it. Happy watching the dogs while they're sleeping and laying down. Very interested in them and a bit nervous of them when they're not. She doesn't like the Bedlingtons, strangely enough. Luckily, it's the pointer that will be coming out with us. Just messaged Richie to say, you know, she's already fed on the glove. He said, blimey, everyone else that's contacted me back this year, been 3 or 4 days for a lot of these birds. I think the difference is people don't know how to hood their birds. They don't try and hood their birds. Goshawks and harrishawks especially, and they'll bow them out, hopefully in a shady corner, and kind of say, get on with it. Every time you approach that bird, it thinks you're going to come to get it. It's going to bait straight off the perch, flat out on its belly, panic stricken. You're grabbing it, running your hand up the jesses, picking it up. You're just setting yourself back, aren't you, all the time? You're just going back to, I'm the predator, you're the prey, I'm going to catch you up again. This bird won't be bowed out and hooded until it's had a couple of days to realise I'm not a baddie and that the dogs aren't also about to eat it. There's no point just bowing it out, blocking it out, putting on a high ring perch, whatever, when it's going to bait away at every single thing and just end up frustrated and flapping on its belly. I hate tail guards with a vengeance. Whether we'll need to use one with this bird, I'll tell you a bit more about that in the next episode, if you like, the next bit. But for sure, birds, goshawks' tails get broken due to the way they're handled on the glove and the tethering mechanism as they bounce around. Occasionally on prey, mostly on prey because they've already creased a feather previously. And I've flown imprints and parent reared. Gorgeous, gorgeous creature. So fed at lunchtime, half a quail, and now she's tucking in the evening, 2.5. Within 2 minutes of being offered, with the dogs running around. And not picky, properly getting in there, look. Come on, man. So this is the afternoon of her second full day here. She's kids playing in the background. She's pretty settled. Look at that. So what I've been doing is jumping her, just letting her step up really from the glove to the perch so she recognises that perch top. She hasn't regained it yet, but she has been sitting there now for half an hour with lots going on. Quite chilled, not bad. But she certainly hasn't been left unattended while I've been out bowed out the Gruffalos in the house. Okay, at the beginning of day 4. So where are we at? The bird was feeding on the fist from the morning of day 1, not including the first night at 8 o'clock when it got home. Hold on. The bird was feeding on the fist. And this is what we haven't done, and this is critical. We haven't just tethered the bird to the perch, so we'll get used to it. With a goshawk, they're so flighty. These amazing tails are so easily broken. What we've done is worked it on the glove, we've manned it, we've got it feeding, we've just gone straight in there with all the dogs and everything around. It's been pretty good. You can get back on the glove. And then I've been showing it, the ring perch is about 1 metre high, not just tying it on there. Most birds with a ring perch, certainly compared to a nice low bow perch, they'll bait off it and they won't even notice it. They don't know it's a perch, and they'll just be on the ground trying to get away constantly, stressed out. So I've literally been, hold on. I've literally been just letting it step onto the ring perch top, picking it back onto the glove, letting it step onto the ring perch block, until in the end, after a couple of days, it sees that top ring and it'll pop up on there. It knows it's the perch. Last night, I left her out on the perch, on her own, watching carefully, letting the dogs run around, and eventually she baited off. It took her 15 minutes of sitting on the ground watching those dogs before she thought, I'm going back up there, and up she jumped. So she now regains the fist from the first day. She now understands what the perch is and how to get back on it. We tried that again this morning. Last night, bearing in mind she's been fed twice a day, she was fed at 11 o'clock yesterday, 11 o'clock in the morning, as much as she wanted to eat. And then at 6 o'clock last night, put her on the perch. She walked onto the glove with very little encouragement, and then a bit more confidence. Still at high weight, 3 pound 2. She hopped onto the glove. So we're going to now see if we can get a leash length and try her on a T-perch for the first time. Much higher than the perch. Car coming, something different. So car's just driven past, no problem at all. Let's just see, different approach. Just watching a car. So lots more to see. We're outside the Falconry Centre, stuff going on, cars coming and going. Now I just picked her up. I've been working her, she sat on a bow perch with a hood on while I've got ready this morning. As soon as the hood came off, she was looking to the glove for food. Now, completely different. Typical of most birds, but a goshawk say, oh, something new. That food instinct has switched right off. We'll see. Ready? So first time on a T-perch, everything's different. I'm at a different height, I'm looking at it at a different angle. Morning of day 4. Doesn't get any better than that. The biggest step of training any bird is getting that initial jump. So last night, I couldn't believe it, she jumped 6 inches. And again, she's jumped across. Holding the food all wrong, keeping that tail away. Try not to upset her, I just want to now have a big reward, and we'll try it one more time, maybe twice. I've got Oscar here on the camera filming. Never seen him before in her life. But this bird is really coming along. Again, we're not going for 50 jumps or 50 call-offs on the Creance. We're just calling any one time, probably half a dozen, but a decent reward. And of course, ending while the appetite's still there, and you don't F it up. The bird lost interest and veering off because it's had too much food at that point in its training. But decent rewards. Not weighed this morning, but empty weight on collection, 3 pound 4 ounces. Yesterday in the morning, empty of food, 3 pound 2 ounces, so she's regulating her own weight. I'd imagine she'd be about 3'2" today. Don't need to weigh her every day at this stage. We're not reducing weight. Okay. Nothing like that. No. Okay, go for a leash length. And there's people moving about behind her. This is all new stuff. We'll let the bird progress at its own speed, but we're not pushing the birds. We're not holding them back. Keep them moving along. So we're still working with a bird that's high in weight, just working it only on appetite. We will be reducing the weight with the goshawk. So just to keep its head in check for sure. It's going to need an increase in appetite a little bit, I'm sure, as it goes along. No pushiness, no food, holding back on food. Morning of day 4. And we've got a parent-reared goshawk that's really steady, and it's because we haven't allowed it to get fearful. We haven't just blowed it out, had it terrified on the lure, on the bow perch, not understanding the bow perch, and then every time we pick the bird up, terrifying it, a predator coming to get it while it's stranded and tethered to the ground in its head, putting us back. Richie said most of the people that have reported back to him this year, the goshawks haven't fed for 3 to 4 days. She fed on the first morning. There we go, she's still very, very twitchy. So the hood has allowed us to get a bird that's seen more stuff already than most people's goshawks, but without getting scared or anything. You can see the appetite's going and more nerves now. So, last one, finish off on a last bit of food. What we are going to do is pretty much now go down to feeding once a day before training, as much as she wants. So she's got a decent appetite now. Doesn't get any better than that. So she'll be fed up now, as much of this as she wants. And then she's going to spend a lot of the day hooded today. I'm in a situation where I can't attend to her, and she would have to be bowed out or on a high ring perch, set at a meter, with way too much going on that could worry her if I can't keep an eye on her. Stay tuned. So day 4, Cole's popped round to see her. And he's just picked her up off the perch.
Just stressing your bird
just
out.
To see how she is. Doesn't do any harm to be picked up by the people that know what they're doing.
Who's that?
Less scared, less worried if it's just a one-person bird. It's good in some ways. There are advantages, but there's also a lot of disadvantages. Fortunately, I left a little snack for her tonight, and the flies had found it. It's fly blown, so she doesn't need any more food, but it would have been a bit of a sweetener for her. Nice to see them sitting on one foot, out weathering. Nice indeed. So today's our first 3 steps forward, 2 steps backward day. £3.2. So the weight stayed about the same. Yesterday, strange place, never seen moving cars before, strange people, never been on a T-perch. 3 leash length jumps to the T-perch, no bother. And then later on, fed on the glove in front of a crowd of strangers in a strange place. Today, more familiar setting. 3 leash length jumps on a T-perch later in the day, but very distracted by granddaughter goings on and the dogs. More annoyed at the dogs than she has been the last day or so. So definitely step backwards, and this will be the first day where food will be rationed out, and we'll be looking at gradually knocking an ounce or so off her weight, just to see if we can improve her brain power, take away a little bit of the nerves, even some goshawky tweet 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 noises today, which she hasn't done at all so far. Looking around now, see where the dogs are, almost like they're a brand new problem in her life. Yesterday, totally used to them. And that's falconry, and it's certainly goshawks. Now Zeus the Golden Eagle's coming up for his 12th season, and for the first 5 years I kept a log. I wrote a book actually with words and pictures about his progress. So it's been a long time since I've done such a thing, but for this bird I'm going to keep some notes of this lovely old log that someone gave me. He gave us a few of these at the Falconry Centre, and they are in fact almost like collector's pieces, because in their own right they have got not only a dress book, who uses that anymore, they've got some great useful addresses from vets and businesses, that some of which probably don't exist and some of them certainly do, but something going back to the 90s. It's going to look a lovely little log for the first season at least of flying this goshawk. Oh, somebody at the door. So without a van today, we're an ounce lower, day 5. Completely different colour top on again. I'm not making it easy on her, but her routine needs to be a little bit, not always in a routine. So still nervous, but better than yesterday for an ounce less. Instant again now, a leash length. And without a van until later due to a nail in the wrong place. A couple more jumps, leash length on a T-perch. But really with a view to starting Creance work in the next 2 days or so. So all good, gradually getting back on track after yesterday's sort of dip backwards. But now we need that appetite there, because she has been put out on a ring perch, and even today she's initially baited away from me when I went to pick her up, even with the betching. Now be warned, or be advised, I don't advise training birds in your garden. Once the birds have got that initial bit out of the way, get out of your property. You'll create aggression. You'll create a bird that baits towards you all the time it sees you in the garden, which is not good. It's going to be restless trying to get to you to get out flying at some point. So yes, initial feeding on the glove, even initial jumps from the ring perch or the bow perch, just to get that confidence as you approach them. But then definitely get out somewhere that's not your hunting field full of game. Have a designated training field with a designated perch, like a T-perch, not the top of a fence, or you'll just encourage that bird to fly to fences every time it sees one, so it can return for a reward. Very annoying when you're hunting. So just to show you, it's not all plain sailing. Okay, we got there, but you saw her just a couple of days ago with all sorts going on. Higher weight, instant, leash length, slightly backwards. Believe me, it's not just falconry, but it's real goshawk training. The goshawks, unlike harrishawks and redtails, golden eagles, let me sort that out for her. Appetite, much more important to get any progress at all. Okay, so you don't want to be constantly tidbitting your hawk on your lawn, in your garden, or anywhere, when it's on the weathering lawn or in the mews. But at this early stage, you don't want a bird, you don't want to be negative when you're picking the hawk up. So I'm leaving it out to weather now, but this is where I'm up against. I haven't got a glove on, so it'll be timid anyway, but this is what I'm up against today and yesterday, changing its psychology. Yeah, I've just walked down it, baited at 20 paces. How typical is that? How fun is that? Okay, so a lot better than it has been. How funny I'm doing this. But generally, to start with, I'm happy to walk up with a glove, charming, and a juicy bit of food on the glove, just until we prevent this negative behaviour. You're going to start doing some manning or handling of your hawk, and if it's baiting away, every time you walk up to it, you'll just start in every session negatively. I'd rather tidbit, pick up to food in the initial few days. You want the hawk looking forward to you guys approaching. You want it looking forward to you as a positive thing, not starting negatively. Equally, you need to know when to nip that in the bud, so you haven't got a hawk digging a semicircle in your lawn every time it sees you because it's trying desperately to get to you for some food. An improvement just since 10 minutes ago. So stuck at £3.1. It's going to be our only feed today. We're a week in, the start of week 2, 7 days in. She's £3 1 ounces, so she's sort of hovering around. Bit of Creance work. She was that nervous today. I just pulled her straight out of a travel box up at the Falconry Centre. I thought, not worth filming. She's not going to do anything. She's still at too high a weight. She's facing the wrong way now. We'll try it and see. Buddy. 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 There you go. We're getting somewhere. That's actually her third bit of work on the Creance line. So we decided to switch the camera on because I thought it was going to be nothing to film at all, apart from a panting goshawk. Typical goshawk. But we're still at £3 1. We're still at kind of high weight, but we do need to trim that weight now. But still a little bit nervous for where it needs to be. Someone's going to get belted in the eye, me, or she's just going to swing by at any distance and go up a tree. We'll try one more. It's only a short Creance, this one. And of course the crop's filling up. She's getting reasonable sized chunks, getting a quarter of a chick more or less. To make it worthwhile. Buddy. Buddy. Hand signals. Buddy. That's it, we're going to call it there. 7 days, so the start of week 2. We're on the Creance. We really know we need to knock an ounce off. And so it's just day-old cockerels now. No more quail and rat. No more double feeding twice a day. It's going to be fed for training and working. She'll regulate her own weight, I'm sure. Gradually come down. But we've gone from a bird that's, I've just pulled out of a box, shown everyone at the Falconry Centre. Nervous, baity, bit silly. Thought I'd try it anyway. Complete waste of time for 5 minutes. Her head switched on, looking around places to go, but she's done it, so stay tuned. So we're into start of week 2. So steady on the ring perch, so steady. She met people yesterday at the Falconry Centre, so she's perched out, or bowed out if you like, in a new place, meeting audiences, walking past all day, didn't bait once. She did a couple, 2 or 3 metre call-offs on a short Creance from a T-perch in front of an audience while we did a talk about her. But still very nervous because I've lacked on the actual hands-on manning, just passive manning on a perch the last couple of days. And her weight, although coming down slowly, she's now gone she stayed around £3.1 despite everything, and she's down to £3 today. But with the goshawk compared to your Harris red-tailed, even golden eagle, without a reasonable appetite, you can often go backwards. I don't want this bird panting on the glove or trying to fly away. That's all negative around me. A bit more appetite will change this bird's mentality and mean we can actually go on a lot further. Looks nicer, a lot further with her. So I'm going to do nothing today, nothing other than I'm going to just keep approaching her on a ring perch, offering a small betching, letting her jump, hop over, and just make it a more positive experience when I go to pick her up from a perch, that it's a positive thing. She's getting a little bit of food. Again, something I'll stop very quickly once we don't need to do it. But for sure, I want her to look forward to me coming towards her as a positive thing. At the moment, the nerves are they're getting the better of her. Not too bad, but we're at a good place. But to be honest, we were at this place maybe 3 or 4 days ago. So it's time to move forward, and we do need to start really having some weight control and building appetite. But she's nice. So something we haven't done the last 3 or 4 days is anything like enough manning. So quite funny, 2 days ago, the bird was an absolute basket case on the glove. Literally, worst goshawk ever, nothing like it's been even since day one, nothing like that. Very calm bird so far. Still good weathering, but just basket case being carried. I had got a different colour top on, it was grey, and it was really, really windy, which is unsettling for a lot of the birds. But baiting all the time on the glove. Strangely, I found a quiet place out the wind with a T-perch, and she did 4 or 5 metre call-offs on the Creance with no issues at all, no problems at all, and then fed. She was fed that day, a little bit of quail, bony quail, back to the van, no problem at all. But for sure we need to do more manning. So today she's been to a talk with me, not too bad, in a town hall, a village hall, talk to older people as part of the team. We've just stopped in the village, at the other end of the village, walking through a little copse, public footpath. We're not hunting or anything, obviously, and we're just feeding her on the glove today. We've got to get that manning back around. It's no good having a bird, even if it responds, that constantly, here we go, baits away when you start moving or carrying the bird. She just hasn't had enough time. The state of this camera lens, she just hasn't had enough time lately being carried on the fist. So we need to pull our finger out. That was the whole point of getting her, to force myself to do stuff and not work. So I'd like to go home for a cup of tea, but we've pulled over and we can have a nice woodland walk this evening, feed her on the glove, hopefully get her head into gear that it's not a bad place to be. See you in a bit. So we're 2 weeks and a day in. Certainly the last few days, in a way, life's got in the way. Now I'd like to say it's a classic thing that is my life, which is too much work and too much to do. It's not that. It's life caused by other people and other things that are beyond my control but take up a lot of my time and effort. So we haven't stagnated, but we've got things to do. So last time you saw me, we were walking through these very woods, manning the bird. We're doing that again today. Nervous still on the glove, certainly a way step backwards, purely lack of time. We need much more time on the glove, positive around food and feeding, but still seeing new stuff as we go along. Kind of ironically, Creance worked yesterday. We went 4 times to about a third of a chick, 15 metres, 4 times, no problems at all. The previous Creance session, 5 metres, 3 or 4 times, no problems. And before that, 5 metres, 2 flights ended up on the grass, just feathered down on the Creance and hopping up to the glove. So really progressing on the Creance. And even when she's been a basket case on the glove to where we're working with the Creance line, She's been really good on the Creance line, so it is just more carrying needed to keep her like this. So just an update at this point for people going through this process or thinking of going through this process with a goshawk, specifically goshawks. Again, we're in a quiet wood, but in sight of the road, so she can see things through the trees. We're out with the dog, but something to be aware of. One, forwards and backwards, that you'll be getting along fine, then you'll have a couple of 3 days where you just think it's all gone wrong and you don't know why. Goshawk mentality, just keep pushing forward. Pay critical attention to weight management and working with a bird as much as possible around its appetite, and when it's got an appetite, not just forcing it to endure being with you. Something else to certainly think about with goshawks is the back of their hallux, so where the anklet, when the bird baits, can rub, there look, it's there, where the anklet can rub at the back, at the top of the back toe, where the back toe meets the ankle, if that makes sense. I know their ankles are not ours are, but thinking of it as we would as a human. So where the anklet, the lower edge of the anklet, can rub the top of the back toe, where the back toe joins the foot. Pay particular care there, certainly after a week or so, that your anklet isn't chafing and making a sore. If it is, other than saying the obvious, keep the anklets supple and well greased if they're leather, you really need to just change those anklets for a completely different design and keep F10 ointment on that wound or that sore, because the feet take ages to heal. If you just carry on, you're going to get a big sore and a foot infection, and that's not what you want. No sign of that with this hawk, but something that frequently happens with goshawks. Just one pair of anklets on one foot, when they bait, will start to chafe or sore. Make sure you keep an eye out for that, 'cause it's not easy to see unless you actually look for it. So just a quick catch up. I'm really trying to make this video an hour long, so I have to be really careful what content I put in. So little nuggets and things to make you realise that Dave doesn't do it so easily. Why am I having trouble? It's always about time and input at the correct time. Also, of course, I'm not going to show you, we've done this with a Harriswalk video already, every day on the Creance coming further and further. We'll put clippings of that in as we progress, and then as we progress onto the next thing, I'm more likely to add clips of this is going wrong or not going to plan, than just constant clips of me doing things better and better and her doing better and better. Easier to learn if people say, yeah, I'd had that problem too, or that's normal, than to watch something and think, God, it looks so easy, why am I struggling? Goshawks, different mentality from those other birds, or rather goshawks, sparrowhawks, a lot of the accipiters are a different mentality from your eagles and your buzzards and your parabucos for sure. Stay tuned. So here we are, we've had a good few days of getting a bird's mentality round, and that's all around positivity, and that's food. Walking her, manning her with food, not just endless manning with a baiting bird. There's no point in that at all. The manning of a goshawk does not need to be every hour carried on the fist. It really doesn't. It just needs to be positive, and the bird's weight needs to be going in the right direction. A fat goshawk just doesn't have the interest that a fat Harriswalk would, for instance. So we're back on track now, we're doing Creance work. Now remember, with your Creance work, once the bird's doing some work on the line, vary your situation, even if it's just a different part of your training field. Today I took a walk here thinking the grass was still going to be short grass, because the last time I came here, it was winter. What an idiot. There's a little 2 foot wide strip of grass in all this thistle and brush. Nothing like where you should be doing Creance work, but I'd walk there anyway with a T-perch. And here we are. And it's not snagging, but that's why you really need short grass for your Creance line work. Equally, of course, not just varying the spot you're working with the hawk on the Creance. If you're going to work your bird with a dog, the dog needs to be there throughout the training. It's no good training your hawk to the point of flying free and then thinking, right, I'm going to start introducing the dog, you're just going to go back to square one, especially with certain birds. Do it all as you go along. Now, the bird's on fire now. After that initial short flight, the bird's doing really well. And the only reason we're not pushing it beyond the distance here on the Creance is because I'm doing it in a strip of long grass and the line will snag and make it a negative experience. So tomorrow, back on track, some distance work. And the plan will be, if she gets to sort of 20-25 metre call-offs, no problem, we're going to put a lure pad into the mix with a view to pretty soon after that getting her flying free and a drag carcass to follow. Fingers crossed, we're on track now, well away. So some Creance line tips, of course. You don't want to stake that Creance handle in the ground. Always have it in your pocket so you can feather the bird down if it veers off. You don't want it to come to a sudden stop. That's crucially bad for those young legs. Equally, remember, you don't need to go for miles on the Creance line and you don't need to go for 50,000 call-offs. Several call-offs, instant response, 20-30 metres, 30 metres. You don't really need much more than that before you fly free. You're looking for instant response, of course, and a bird that's concentrating and coming a reasonable distance. My biggest tip when you're working with goshawks, parrot-reared or imprint, is be very aware. A nervous goshawk coming towards you can veer off or quite easily smack you in the face or rake the side of your face, always going for your eyes as it flies on by. The nerves will get that going, more work needed, probably a little bit weight off the bird to get it going. Be really aware, it's dangerous, it hurts. If you're at all worried, either look away at the point of the bird landing or raise your glove for the bird to fly higher to the glove and use your left bicep, really, as a shield against your face. Come on then. weight needed, a little bit of weight reduction needed, but this bird has been picked up off the weathering lawn, put in a box, driven to a completely new field she's never seen before. The guy's herded his bullocks over there, massive space, loads to see, pulled out the box, no manning, just straight on the T-perch. So this weight's fine, but I think we're going to be still going down 1 more ounce to really have this bird bang on to start with at this warm weather, before, as our season goes on, this bird's going to go down to £2.10 starting weight, and is going to put at least another 4 ounces on that as the season progresses for sure. Your flying weight that you start from, don't hammer your birds there and stick them there. Birds to do new things need a reduction to give them confidence before most likely rising their body weight once again. The more muscle here, the more stamina. And if you're going to fly game birds with your goshawk, stamina, not just cardio, is required. The lure's been introduced. All went really well, really well. I'm really pleased with her. Almost like she's been reading the textbook in the last few days for sure. A different bird than just a few days ago. We'll have a little walk. I'm going to let her weather at the Falconry Centre, but really a little bit more of this and then free, drag rabbit carcass, get hunting, end of video. See you soon. So yesterday took for a couple of long walks, fed on the glove only, so she's on weight today for a bit of Creance work, and then we're going to try and do a drag rabbit lure, a dragged rabbit carcass, not a lure. Needs to be real at this stage. Turns out the freezer hasn't got any rabbits in it, so it's a drag squirrel, so a bit of a small target, but for the benefits of this, it shall chase the drag squirrel and let it feed up on it a bit, and then really, if the recall's there and the weight's there, realistically, time to go hunting. Don't use a pretend lure at this stage. That's for getting your birds fit. Use a real carcass, let the bird feed up on it, let it realise that's something very different, Back it up, we're on film. Than a stuffed lightweight thing. A rabbit or something bigger is better, because I'm going to let my bird think something small is the main thing, and obviously it's going to get a surprise if it grabs a 3.5 pound rabbit, pack it in and gets kicked about. A friend of mine came up today, really good falconer, he's training a young goshawk. He said, how are you getting on with the hooding? I said, yes, all going all right. They're all goshawks and harrishawks. If you don't put a really good amount of time in, they're always a bit snaky to hood, but she's fine. And he said, I've got to stop hooding mine. He said, it's that hood shine now that even my bare hand moving, this hand moving, it bails off the glove. And I think there is a limit that if you fluff it up, if it doesn't work so well on a bird, to the point now it's breaking down your actual relationship, then maybe it is best to stop hooding, get the training on with, and then go back to hooding the way. There's a technique to hood shy birds that they'll get used to, but it takes a lot of time and patience. So there is a point where if the hooding's just not going right and it's actually ruining your relationship, then maybe, yeah, you've got to stop that and rectify that pretty quick for sure. But for me, doing all this training, Creance line, getting the look, doing it all one-handed, imagine that without a bird hooded. Oh my goodness me. The hood makes so many more advances in your falconry. Let's get on. Creance line first. If that goes okay, a drag carcass, and then we're near enough there. So remember guys, Creance line in your pocket, not staked in the ground. That's one sure way of damaging your bird's legs when it flies on by. If it's on your person and the bird bolts, you can of course simply move with the bird and feather the bird down gently. Falconer's not on there, feel free to do 2. Always good to have backup 1 today. Hood off. Remember, a short jump first on the Creance line. Don't know how this is going to go. There's baby pheasants around and she's never seen, it turns out, bullocks either, so this could go terribly wrong. See how she goes. But remember, a short confidence builder, whet the appetite, get those lips smacking, and then we'll move on to some distance. See how we go. She's never seen cows and things close up, only at a distance. So something to remember, manning isn't a process that starts and ends and then you move on to something else. Manning is continual. So that got our attention. Let's just see if concentration on food beats the nerves of a lot of hungry looking males, even though they eat grass. She doesn't know, does she, maybe? Something that always makes me snigger, things like Jurassic Park. Oh, that 500-ton dinosaur, that's friendly because it's a vegetarian. That one's dangerous because it's a carnivore. Yeah, I wouldn't want to meet a hippo on a dark alleyway, and that thing's a real vegetarian. Cows actually kill a few people every year in Britain. So I feel her fear, because cows I'm scared of, horses I'm terrified of. I'm going to go for one medium one, and I'm going to go full range. Had half a quail yesterday. I did say earlier in the video, chicks only, but from my own fault, we've dragged on a bit, so she's had some good food as well. Half a quail, fed on the glove. A lot of manning. This bird's head has changed dramatically. Haven't lost a lot of weight. She's stuck at £2.11, £2.10.5 yesterday. I want her at 2.10, I think, but well, her weight today, guys, let me tell you, I can tell you exactly what her weight is. And that line was a complete lie. I got up the field here to do some training and realised I haven't weighed her. But she's going to be something like, her whole attitude is telling me we're getting somewhere. She's nervous of those. Let's go for the full line. Or the full line she's going to get. More than long enough. More than too much. We don't need all of this. You don't need to keep your bird on a Creance line, as we keep saying, until it's done 10 million call-offs and 13 miles in length. We're looking for a response. And that is response if she doesn't swing off. Oh, the Goshawk thump on the glove, so she's getting there now. She's certainly getting there now. Gonna do 2 more of these. And then we're going to introduce that carcass. So yesterday on the glove, a long evening walk, and her head was bobbing. Her head was bobbing in my garden at frogs in the pond. It was bobbing at little robins in the undergrowth. She's certainly coming in now. I've stupidly got pickup pieces and recall pieces in the same pouch, which is incredibly stupid and annoying. So she's even thinking about coming in. So she's switching on now. Always be careful, because your birds will chase you if you're not paying attention. Those cows are interested. Remember hand signals, guys. That white, oh lovely, white palm of your hand stands out against the winter backdrop incredibly well in a long distance for these birds. It's a bit of movement. It's a white flag, remember. Standing there shaking your food, you know what you look like. Hand signals with your other hand. We don't need to be shaking the food. That palm of your hand is moving. And if it means that it's there with the food because you've been using it throughout your recall, it's a really good flag. Okay, look at this bird. Different bird from 2 days ago. Last recall, then we're going to go for a carcass. So she's on it. She's going to be here before I get this bit of food out, I think. Quite a big bit there. Let's make that a bit smaller. It's totally different bird. Switched on. It's always a pleasure when they get there and it all switches on. We had a few days of absolute basket case about a week or so ago, where you just think like wringing its neck, to be honest. Now we're getting somewhere. She's looking for the glove now. Hey! Instant recall. This is what we're looking for. This is a bird that's ready to fly free and start catching some food for itself, for sure. No more picky feeding. Got it. You absolute pig. Go. Better clean the bits off the glove, make sure she's satisfied. We don't want sticky foot in this, so don't just sort of take your bird off the glove or try and get it on a perch. Let it check out that the food's all gone and all the scraps are gone. Let it relax its grip. She's not going to want this hood on now. She's going to want to continue her work. So let's see. She's want to get on that T-perch and get back for some more food. Okay, we missed up the hooding on the last one, didn't we? We missed it off. So you can see someone hasn't been doing enough hooding work, enough on and off. Don't want to piss this bird off at this stage. Okay. Certainly changed then, very bad behaviour. And that's all down to the falconer not popping that hood on and off all the time. Right then. No one likes the Creance line. No falconer says, oh, I can't wait to get my bird on a Creance line. Absolutely horrible. When you've got a lure line and a falconer or a bit of dead food like this, see if I can keep this on here. It's going to be very, very interesting. You could be helping me right now. You're just sitting there watching your telly, aren't you? It's gone now. There we go. Okay, so all by myself. I'm going to walk back. Oh, how hard is this going to be? All right. Give it a bit of a battle. Don't just let it flop around. Let it get 2 feet on it. Okay, there we go. So we're going to make in. We're going to make into her. Keep low. Get a hand on it. We don't want to carry in, and we need to show her that there's food there. Get her concentrated. Remember, this bird, you're towering over this bird at this stage. Let's get a little bit of chick food on there. Oh no, the guts of all things. Did I really get the guts on show? That's disgusting. Have a chick head. I didn't paunch the squirrel. Cut a bit of skin off so there's a bit of meat there. And she's managed to get the guts out straight away, which I really don't want. Okay, come on, so you get your hand in there. Don't be scared of your bird's feet, whatever it is. You've been doing some work. I'm covering up the hole where the guts are coming out so that she can see the meat. So look at this bird. Only one time we've been on the grass. You saw that with the swung lure, the recall lure. Getting in there. Don't sit back. Take your time. Keep that lure, that carcass, jerking around. Keep it battling it. And as you make in and get low, get in there with your bird before it starts to get nervous of you or whatever. Get in there, get your hand on the carcass so the bird's not trying to tug it away. Pin it down with your gloved hand, get your bare hand in there. Start getting little betchings. If you can't pull food off, give the bird little tidbits from your hand. Don't be scared of the feet. Your bird's going to foot you at some stage, and it's going to be far less likely to foot you if you use your hands straight away. You've been touching the bird's feet anyway, but use your hands to pull food off and offer it to the beak. If you don't take food off your hawk and you bring food towards your hawk with your bare hand, that bare hand doesn't need to be pinned down and treated like a thief. And let her eat some squirrel meat. And of course, soon this will be hot food. So this bird's ready to hunt now. And the biggest battle you're going to face as a falconer or a falconer is finding enough slips for your young hawk. It might catch straight away. This time of year, obviously things like game birds are slow and stupid, but bolted rabbits, good God, they're like grease lightning. Many a hawk will just watch that, stop eating that. Many a hawk will just watch that and think, am I supposed to chase that? You're joking. And if you can't find enough slips, enough quarry to facilitate all those misses your hawk's probably going to have until it hits something, catches it and holds it and then eats it, to suddenly have this massive eureka moment in its head and why it's here for and what it's for, and that those things are worth catching. If you're finding a couple of slips every weekend, it's very hard to get a made hawk. The bird's just going to lose its confidence. That's its tail. So she's having some good bits of meat. I'm going to pick her up now, simply because an idiot I am. I didn't paunch the squirrel, and I'm now having to cover up every bit of it that she can get the guts out of. What an idiot. Let her eat some proper squirrel meat. She'll be out of action tomorrow. Probably won't feed this bird at all tomorrow. And then if she's as quick as that, again on the Creance, that's it. We're going out rabbiting. So goshawks normally step up pretty good. I'm covering the squirrel with my glove as much as possible, using my bare hand on the squirrel under my glove to pin down that lure. So when she steps up, she doesn't lift it up with her. Well done. A little up and down motion. Get the squirrel behind her out of sight. We're going to wrap up all these Creances. And one little trick is step up over your kill. Use it to completely block it out. Because even a bird feeding on a glove will often see what it's caught or whatever, the lure, whatever, and despite having food on the glove, it'll be hell-bent on getting back, and then your whole relationship turns very, very messy. The bird's desperately trying to get around you because it knows the food's there, it can see a little bit, you've got to block it completely. And it just becomes all negative right at the end of a brilliant training session. But you've seen, we haven't done a great deal. Hold on, we haven't done a great deal. We've done 4 call-offs, was it? 4 or 5? We've just done first ever carcass run on my own, very short distance, but she knew what she was doing. That told me all I need to know. We've done our second ever pickup off of a lure or carcass. And it all went swimmingly well. In fact, had she have hooded nicely, I'd be thinking, all done in one take. But as you know, it does all get done in one take. The quality of this filming is never cinematography quality, but I hope the channel shows you or helps you do things one way, the right way or a right way. And more importantly, I hope it shows you that it doesn't all go easily and smoothly, not for anyone. Up we go then. I'll put the leash on because I haven't really given her a lot of foot room here, the way I'm holding this in safety position. Don't look at the squirrel. Get out of it. Oh, it's all going wrong at the end. There we go. Come on then. It's there. There we go. Exactly what we said. We all now and again. What are you doing? Goshawks are funny. You big. Anyway, now I've got goshawk holes in me. That's the sort of thing that it kind of ruined a really nice sequence. Rushing, not taking your time, that I think a lot of people would cut out. Certainly ruin the sequence, makes me look a bit stupid, but it will be left in because certainly if you're new to falconry, it's all that kind of mess up that you're going to make. Oh, I've just ruined a really positive session. Now we've got to get back on track. And one thing we're going to do, we're going to let her eat. We're going to stay down here while she's calm. We're going to let her eat. Let her clean the glove and hood her. And we can then pack away all calmly without her seeing a squirrel again. And that's what it's like, standing up, thinking she's concentrating on the food. Did exactly what I said, don't do. She's spotted the squirrel, she's got food, but there's a squirrel. Oh my God, I've got to go and get that as well. And it all becomes really messy. What are you actually looking at? What are you doing? So all gone wrong. Oh, okay, I've just worked it out. You guys saw I didn't. Possibly to do with the van that's behind us that I didn't know was there. I have no idea who that is. They're probably thinking, what's that guy doing to that white chicken? Very unsettled bird after such a splendid, perfect training session. Out of sight, out of mind. One more clip to this video, guys. And that's the real thing. And to end the day, I'm going to trip over the Creance line. There we go. So we've just done a drag lure, well, swung lure and then dragged across the ground. Unshot pheasant. It's not the season even yet right now, but we've got a pheasant. Done that as a lure, and we're just doing those things of getting that bird used to us. You know, think of its vulnerability now on there with me now standing up. So it doesn't hurt to just walk around your bird. And you're just looking for it to carry on feeding and not try and bolt once it's settled and you've helped the bird break in. Let it plume a little bit. It also doesn't help to offer the bird some tidbits with your bare hand or otherwise, and just get the bird used to your glove coming in there and your hand coming in there as well. So even with a golden eagle, I'm straight in there and let the bird, you've been touching the bird's feet from day one, literally from day one. So it's not vicious with its feet, it's not scared of your hands, you've never stolen food. So this hand, you should really be able to get this hand in here with any bird, to be honest. Pull pieces off if you can. If you can, there's a lot to see here. Just feed it from your hand. Make sure the hand helps with food, not takes away. Works all the time. If it grabs you, just relax and let her take her feet off of you. Why does she need to grab your hand? She's not eating your hand, she's got a massive bit of food there. She's at £2, just under £2.9, so the lowest weight she's been at. And the falconry gathering kicks off the day after tomorrow. Tomorrow the workload's too much, so we're letting her have a really good feed up of this reasonable size thing she's took as a lure, as a pretend game, a real game, but a drag lure, drag carcass. And she can have a good blowout today. A little bit of food on the glove tomorrow. And then next week, hopefully Kyle's going to get her entered because I'm unavailable. And then the video will definitely be done.
Sean, all the way from Canada, is out with Dad's goshawk.
With one of the most beautiful birds in the world.
That's it. After trading her off successfully on her first rabbit. Hopefully those clouds bugger off and we can go and have an hour or two out with the eagle on hares next.